Welcome back guys to another e-video. This is Draco's Rules, and today I'm going to show you how to go about building up some PI to get some nice passive income while you're busy in the game doing other things. So without further ado, let's get started and have a look what PI consists of. Now, planetary industry, or planetary interaction as it used to be called, is considered to be long-winded, a lot of clicks and a lot of, well, a lot of problems. However, as you can see, the setups I'm setting up today, and I'll show you how to create this setup for the next planet in my chain that I need to go over, and I'll show you which product I'm building and how I go about setting it all up. Okay, so let's come out of this and I will show you exactly what we're going to be making. So at the end of this, we'll be making Yukomi superconductors. Now, as you can see, planetary industry tab. To make these superconductors, we need 10 of superconductors, which is a tier 2 or P2 product, and we need 10 synthetic oil, which we'll build on a separate planet, and I'll show you how to do that also. Now, to build these as well, if you click on the little eye here, it'll show you we need 40 plasmoids and 40 water. Okay, so this is what we're building on our extraction planets. Okay, so I'll just explain that a little bit now. So as you can see on the extraction planet here, we have our extractor set up, and we are extracting suspended plasma, which is necessary for building the plasmoids. So we have a launch pad, which everything is routed to. So we've got the incoming suspended plasma, and also we've got the plasmoids coming in from the basic industry facilities, of which I've set up 12. I have command center upgrades 5, which is the maximum you can get, so I would recommend getting that as soon as you can, because it gives you a lot of CPU and a lot of power grid. As you can see, I got a lot of CPU over, but the power grid is pretty much maxed even for my character. So you can do this on command center upgrades 4, which will mean you'll probably just need a few less of the basic industries, not too many less. So it won't be too bad. So let's have a look at the next planet we need to build in our little list of what we need to do. So in order for us to build this, what we need is, we've got the plasmoids and now we need the water. So what we'll now do is we'll get ourselves undocked and we'll have a look at the planets and system now. Bit of a cheat, I've already looked at the planets I need, so I'm going to be looking at planet 6 because it's got the best amount of aqueous liquids which is required to create the water. So I'm just going to stop my ship here. There are hostiles in systems, so I'm going to be tethered up and pretty safe. So let's have a look at the system. So in here, as you can see, we've got Storm, and we have several gas planets, which is a bit odd, but hey ho, there we go. So we'll just look at planet 6, and as you can see, it's a large gas planet, and what we need to look for is aqueous liquids. Now we're at 56% density, which is not fantastic, but it works for me. So if we have a look on here, what I would recommend you do is, instead of having all the red bars and such, drag them close together and move them further to the right, and you can see where the hot spots are, so the best places to set down your extractors. So as you can see, all around there's quite a few hot spots. Now let's have a look for a decent one. I think this is fairly decent. I'm thinking probably we'll set up our command center around this point here, and then we can build out and start our extraction process. So let's build our command center. I think I'm going to put it around here, so we're, well, not too close. I'm going to put it around here. Now this is a big planet, and the bigger the planet, the more CPU your routes and your links are going to take. So bear that in mind when you're doing your setups. You will need a lot. This is why we're setting it up to the maximum. We upgrade. This is going to cost us 6 million. There we go, 6.3 million to upgrade all the way. Okay, so let's get started on building this out. So firstly, we've got our command center just here. Now we want to build a extractor unit to get the required materials. Now you notice I'm going to zoom in to try and get them as close as possible to minimize CPU usage for the root and the links. And then what I'm going to put at the top is a launch pad, obviously for retrieving your stuff from your player-owned customs office that will be above all your planets. So firstly we've got the command center, we've got our extractor, and we have a launch pad. So now what I'm going to do, I'm going to build out the 6 either side of our basic industry facilities, and this is to turn the aqueous liquids we're going to be extracting into the water, the P1 that we need to build the advanced components. So I'm just going to put these as close as possible, like this. Coming down to here, it's 3. Now, if that happens to you sometimes where it goes a little bit too far away, you can always decommission it and rebuild it. I'll show you how to do that just now. So this one's a bit wonky, so I'll just decommission this one and rebuild it. So basic industry facility, and I want to be, when it's red like this, as you'll see, you can't build because it's too close. So I'm just going to move it slightly away. There we are, bang. So that's those 3, and the last 3 on this side. 1, 2, and 3. Okay, so this is basically the extraction planet. Now we're going to hit submit, and that's all the changes, so it will cost us a little bit of ISK. So now what we're going to do is link everything together. So what we want to do is we will connect our extractor to the launch pad, and then we will connect all of our basic industry facilities together, trying to use as little routes as possible. As you see how big these links are, 967 kilometers. Now this is a large planet, so it's recommended you build, especially the bigger setups, the factory planets, when you're actually building your factory production planets, is to find a small radius planet. Otherwise you will run out of power grid. So as you can see, I'm just linking them one to another, avoiding unnecessary links where possible, dragging them out like that, and we'll hit submit again. Submit. Okay, so there are routes, there are basic industry facilities, 12 of, there's a launch pad, and we're ready to start setting this up. So when you click on your basic industry facility, you get a list of all the things you can build. So we're going to be building water. So what we can do is click install, or what I like to do is double click, and then it'll ask me where I want to output the water to. Where I want to output it to is my launch pad. So I'll go ahead and double click, and you see it flashes orange. That means the link is successful and that's ready to go. So we do the rest and get them all routed to the launch pad. As you can see, it can be a bit tedious, but for a little bit of work, I think the ISK payoff is well worth it in the end. A lot of people consider this great passive income, and a lot of people think it's a lot of work, but again, it's up to you. I don't mind it for once everything's going for a couple of minutes, you know, maybe 15-20 minutes a week. It's not really a problem. So just continue to route these back to our launch pad. Okay, so our P1 routes are ready to go. We'll hit submit on this. Now we may need to alter this simply because of the size of the planet, so I might even need to cut down on one of these. Simply because it's so huge. And the extractors, when I do put the extractors out, as you'll see, now this might be a bit awkward, but let's have a look here. So we're going to be looking for aqueous liquids, of course, which is the water, to get the water. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay, we can max on 7, simply because this planet is enormous. Now, what I recommend to do is set it up for 1 day and 45 minutes, which still allows for 15-minute cycles for the builds and things like that. So pretty useful. Let's see. No, we can't do it. It's too much. So we can fit max 7 because it's such a huge planet. So we set it up, the whole extraction process, for 1 day 45 minutes, which will give us at the moment, because we haven't moved them around where we want them, 721. Now if you pay attention to these numbers here, okay, you'll see the quality of the output. So what you can do is move these around, and as you'll see, the numbers will increase. So right now we're looking at 160 for this one. Right, so what I like to do is try and position them initially on the best places possible. So I like to spread them out. Normally I have all 10, full complement of 10, but because this planet is just enormous, it's kind of limiting me in terms of that side of things. But that's okay, because this planet is so rich, this thing will extract a lot of the products that I need. So let me move this around. 165, that's better. And 165, that's better. Now I think actually I could do with all of the extractor heads and just do slightly less on the water. So what I'll do is I will cancel that for a minute. Cancel that. Now I'm going to remove 2 of these, which still leaves 10, which is a good amount, as you'll see. So now we come back to our extractor. Let's have a look again. So we're looking for aqueous liquids. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 and 10. Now we can fit the full complement of 10 extractor heads, which gives us a lot more materials to work with. So we set it up again. So we're going to go with a day and 45 minutes. So now if we move these into positions, as you can see, the numbers here have jumped, so we're getting over 1 million units, which is what we want. We want as much as we can in the day. And so we'll just fiddle with these a little bit, move them around and see where it what it gives us. So 1,015,000, 1,029,000, 1,045,000, which is great. So you want this to be above 1 million, if you can. Now, HiSec PI is not as great as where I am currently. I live in a wormhole. So don't expect these kind of numbers in HiSec, and also the player-owned customs officers, they do have interesting tax rates. So yeah, you might get stung a little bit with the HiSec POCO rates. So the POCO is the name for the fun name it's been given by EVE Online players. So what we're going to do now is set up our extraction heads. We've set it up for 1 day 45 minutes. We've got the cycles here. We can see the cycles, and we're getting, well, towards the end obviously it peters out, so we're getting much less, but in the beginning is where we're building up and accumulating the amount which will sit in our launch pad, and then it will be fed out to our basic industry facilities, and they will then feed back the P1 back into the launch pad, ready for us to pick up in a day and 45 minutes or so. So what we click on now is we click Start Extraction. Okay, so that will be going and getting ready. Now it will be telling us the aqueous liquids have not been routed. So what we need to do first is, what I like to do to make it easy for me, is click on the aqueous liquids on the extractor, click Create Route. I'm going to output straight to the launch pad like that. Then click Submit. So that will be going now. So as you see, the cycle, first cycle is 21,177 units. So that's great for what we need. Okay, so now what we need to do is we need to tell the launch pad to send out all of the stuff that's coming to it. So the aqueous liquids, we need to tell this aqueous liquids where to go. So we need to send them to each one of the basic industry facilities. So let's start doing that just now. So we'll create our first route. We'll create on this one and create a route. As you see, when it goes fully orange like that, it's set up correctly and it's finished. So we come back to the launch pad again, we click on the top aqueous liquids, the incoming, create a route, double click. And we repeat this until they've all been done. So there are a couple of little shortcuts. I'm just double clicking. That was a nice change. Added to PI, so create a route, double click. So create route, double click. And I'll spare you, I won't say it again. Okay, so they're all finished now, so our extraction plan is set up and ready to go. Now we are extracting already, so I'll click on submit now. And our extraction planet for our second product that we need to build the first element of the P2s is ready to go. So as you see, our launch pad is ready to go. We've got all the links showing the routes, so the utilization is not so bad. 15% is the highest, which means they're just transiting through each other. That's wonderful. So now we're set up, we can close this down. And as you see, our second planet is now ready. We're extracting aqueous liquids, which is required for water. This is our extraction planet for the water. Because the planet was so big, I've had to remove 2 of the basics industries, but that's okay. And our initial planet looks slightly different. Obviously we've managed to fit the 12 because the planet is so much smaller in radius, so it doesn't take up so much CPU and power grid on our build. Alright, so that is how to set up one of your extractor planets, of which you'll need 4, especially for Yukomi, and the same for robotics. They both require 4 P1 inputs into 2 P2. So our extraction planets for plasmoids and for water are ready to go. Now as you see, we need to build tier 2 superconductors to be able to build our Yukomi superconductors. And as you can see on the left here, we need 40 of plasmoids, 40 of water. And that will give us 5 superconductors that we will be building on another planet. And the same with synthetic oil, which requires electrolytes and oxygen, of which the gas planets have in abundance. So once you've set up your extraction planets, hopefully you'll be able to follow this and be able to build your extractors. I shall then show you how to build a planet that turns the water and the plasmoids into superconductors and the synthetic oil. So stick around and I'll catch you in the next one.